What a crazy, crazy day, huh? Kind of nuts. Uh, just wanted to throw a chart out there. I've had a lot of people ask me, "Hey, what's going on? What's going on?" So I'm gonna show you what I'm looking at, and not financial advice, but maybe a good spot to look for some support and resistance levels as we move forward here in this market. I have the Bitcoin US dollar, just a daily chart here. I got a couple Fibonacci lines we'll talk about, a couple moving averages. This dotted line here is just a horizontal support and resistance flip that we just saw today. I got the RSI down here, the yellow line. I got some zones that I'm going to talk about, and then also the ADX, the black line here, uh, plotted with the directional index lines. So, first of all, let's just look at the broad market overall. Just trends in general. If we start all the way back, back at the in 2018 when we hit that almost $20,000 high, and we worked all the way down to our low. Just looking at this broad bearish move here, down to 31.22. If you look at the high and low there, and you look at the 61.8% level, it is 13,346 here. And if you look at the move back reversing from that, you can see the market going from a 31.22 all the way up to pretty close to that 61.8% level. So this was kind of a you know broad market bearish, broad market bullish. But now, what are we looking at here with what's going on in currently? One of the things that I'm looking at is, I put little red arrows here. This is just one quick look. Is when we went from a high to a new high here. The RSI was showing a divergence to that, so it was already kind of showing, kind of topping out. The ADX was, very, very elevated, giving you signs that as the price was going up, the ADX or the directional index line was going down as the ADX was getting extremely high. So some signals that this thing should reverse. So this is all kind of a reversal signal. So we went from a bullish trend to a reversal to where it went to a bearish trend, and then we had another one here where you went from a low to a new low, and the RSI didn't, had a divergence here where it didn't make a low along with it. The RSI, was higher on the second low there, so that divergence just telling you that this is a bullish divergence. So this is another signal here that the ADX is getting really overdone, and we're starting to push into this divergence. So this was a signal of a reversal here. So reversal from bullish to bearish, reversal from bearish to bullish. The thing is with this move to the upside here, as we hit the 61.8% level at 13.3 here as resistance, there was no signals at all for a reversal. So in other words, if this is a bullish trend that we're in and we're not quite a reversal with this high, then this move here is a correction, and this correction should hold at key retracement points. So what I'm going to look at is the low here at 31.22 and the high here at 13.8. As we're working down, this move that we saw today broke this support at 9100. That was there was a whole bunch of stops underneath there, as everyone found out here today. And then it wicked down pretty quickly, all the way down to what, almost 8,000. And but what I'm looking at now is once we're beyond this 9100 here, this all of a sudden becomes a support and resistance flip. Unless of course we can just start rallying out of here and make this a false little move to the downside and get this thing cranking back up, that this 9100 becomes resistance. So there should be selling interest up around this level now instead of buying interest like before. And now if we do stay under this line, this whole area under here, it's kind of in an area of very little support. Now we did find there is a little bit of support at the 233 exponential moving average right here. It wicked through it, but this was an area that buyers are starting to be found first. The other moving average on here is the 610. just a real long term. I kind of like it because it kind of held support here and then it broke and then it found some consolidation here and broke to the upside. So this to me is kind of a long term, support and resistance to watch for. So the interesting thing is if this 233 breaks, um, and it works down to the next moving average here, which would be the area where support should be found, since we had a support and resistance flip right here. The support right here is pretty close to 7,000, uh, roughly. But the interesting thing is, if you take the low here and the high here, the 61.8% level is right around 72.31. So this whole area down in here is where I think is critical support. Uh, so right now you have key support at the 233 where I actually bought today at 8,500, just for my dollar cost averaging, from all the buys I've had throughout this year. But for my trading purposes, I had a stop at 93.50 today. It broke. I was actually long, just hoping that this would hold. Very minimal long, but the 93.50 stopped me out, and I'm trying to look for a place to rebuy that. I bought the 8,500 for a different account, but my trading account is looking for 72.31. Since we're in this area, a little bit of support. I think we can possibly break down even further into the 7,200, or pretty close to the 610 moving average. So that's the area I'm looking. Or if we break back above this 9,100 with a momentum flip. But right now, with the move that we've seen breaking down this resistance or this support, which is now resistance at 9,100. The ADX is increasing, starting to get into the 20 to 30 range as the bears are moving on here. So that's not a good sign for the next couple of days unless we start to get out of here real quickly, which right now it doesn't look like it. We have a little bit of time before the close, about an hour before we close. So I would love to see us get back above 9,100 and close, and then we can negate everything I'm saying. But I think we're going to stay underneath of it and find some selling interest up close to that 9,100, work our way down to the 7,200 area, maybe even just these lows right here. We are still talking 7,500, so 7,200 to 7,500 range is where I'm looking to make some purchases for some trades, because I'm willing to sit on the sidelines as this thing's starting to whack itself out here. And then lastly, the RSI. One of the things I look for is zones. These two red dotted lines are the bullish zone. So what happened back here in December when we had that divergence and then we broke to the upside? We knew this was a low. As time was going on, we found out that this was a low when this held here, and we went up and made a new high right here, and then cranked to the upside. So the thing that I was looking at was, once this broke right here and on this low, the RSI broke above this and made a new high. And then we got into this area of transition, but it wasn't really until we broke back above this level right here is where it told me that we're going to go from a bearish zone into a bullish zone. So ever since this point, right about in here, this tells you that we're in a bullish zone, and we've been in that bullish zone for a long time, even though we've been correcting since the high. The RSI has been remaining in this zone until today, and then it breaks down. Now all of a sudden this RSI is back in a bearish zone, which actually I have the dotted lines here, so I like to see the RSI get back above this dotted line to let me know that that it's safe to go long again, longer term. I mean, if you put the zone's going to look like, if you take this low down in here, it's going to be this zone is what I'm talking about for. This zone right here is what I'm talking about for the bears. So if you work this out like this, you're looking at this as your zone. So we have some time to even go. I know it's getting into oversold conditions, but it can stay down here for a little bit, like it did here, and we crashed off this break right here. I mean, you can almost put in. You can probably put in a little bit of a trend line right here, and then we broke to the downside, and then as that was breaking, the RSI dropped down into these really low areas. So we actually have some room to drop, because if you put in another trend line like we just had, right here, we broke at this point as we're going down. So this thing could come back down into some key support areas, and that's what I'm kind of looking at. So for one, I'm going to buy on probably a break of this red line on the RSI if it breaks back to the upside. If that happens, it's most likely going to be because we're back above 9100. But it's really this black line that I'm going to look for now that we're in a bearish kind of look here in the zone. But we're bearish to the point we're at a correction. Because there wasn't any big major divergence reversal signals. So any kind of key or critical support level, which would be this moving average in the 61.8% level, should hold. So it dropped down to this area, and then let's launch this thing even higher and get back up, back into normalcy, and get out of this correction. And keep moving to the upside. I know there's a lot on this chart, and hopefully I was explaining it pretty well. But these are the areas that I've been kind of following. The reason I had the stop at 93.50 was worrying about a break right there. With the break on the RSI, my formula told me it was going to be right around 93.50. It broke through that, and I mean, once it broke through there, it went down pretty fast. But it wasn't really until 9100 it went down real quick. But luckily I got out, so I'm going to look to reestablish at 72. Or between 72 and 7500, or if we get back above 9100 on the close today, I'll probably be buying just because off the wick down and back up shows a lot of buying interest. But so far that's not happening, so let's see this thing go down a little bit further, and then hopefully we can get a little bit better buying average. All right, hopefully this helps. I'm out at on Twitter at FiboSwanny, and all my comics are gone because I'm trying to move and I'm taking everything down. So hopefully I'll get some better pictures in my new office. So peace out, happy trading.